Welcome to the Deep Dive, the place where we take all that noise and information out there.
And really boil it down.
Exactly. Boil it down to the stuff you actually want to know, the really fascinating bits.
And today, wow, we're focusing on someone whose voice is just, well, you hear it, you know it.
Instantly.
Instantly recognizable. But her career is this incredibly complicated, layered thing. Kristen Schaal.
Yeah, Kristen Schaal. And you hear that voice, like you said, and it pulls you in two directions, doesn't it?
Totally.
You've got the pure, chaotic energy of Louise Belcher on Bob's Burgers.
Scheming away with the pink bunny ears. Classic.
Right. Total cynic, hilarious. But then you flip it, and you've got the guide from What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, yeah. Completely different vibe, deadpan, kind of bureaucratic.
An ancient vampire dealing with admin. It's amazing. The same person, the same vocal instrument can do both. A 10-year-old agent of chaos and this immortal being. It's wild.
It really is. And that's kind of our mission here, right, in this deep dive. We want to go beyond just those two roles, even though they're, absolutely central.
Can't ignore them.
No way.
Yeah.
But we're looking at an artist who took this super specific, really unique presence.
Her voice, her delivery.
Exactly. And she managed to make it work across so many different things, like radically different mediums. So we're going to track that path. Look at her beginnings in live comedy, some pretty out there stuff.
The alt comedy scene.
Yeah. Then her massive voice acting roles, obviously. Her writing career, which is significant. And maybe most interesting.
How it all links up.
Exactly. How these really diverse projects kind of talk to each other.
Okay, so let's start where we have to start, really. It's impossible to talk about Kristen Schaal without zoning in on, well, her voice.
The voice, yeah.
That distinctive, high-pitched, almost childlike sound.
It's central.
But it's not just a gimmick, is it? It's not a limitation. It's like her superpower.
It's totally a strategic asset. She's used it so smartly. It can be pure innocence 1 minute.
Like Mabel Pines.
Right. And then the next, it's delivering this really biting, super cynical observational humor.
Yeah, it cuts right through.
It's her sonic signature, no doubt. And what's really cool is how he plays with it,
Modulates it.
Yeah, exactly. She could be kids, teenagers, weird creatures.
Talking dinosaurs.
Talking dinosaurs, yeah. And even, serious adults sometimes.
Yeah.
But it always have that core Schaal energy, that kind of enthusiastic, slightly manic, definitely off-kilter thing.
But her fans just love.
Absolutely. And it's what made her pop, back in the day in New York's alternative comedy scene, which was super competitive.
Okay, so where does that persona even come from? Because you hear her all hyperverbal, kind of theatrical.
Picture a certain upbringing, right?
Totally, like art schools, big city background. But her early life, it's this fantastic contrast, really surprising.
It really is. It's like the first big contradiction that maybe feeds into her comedy later on. Kristen Joy Schaal, born January 24th, 1978, in Longmont, Colorado.
Colorado.
Now get this, raised on the family's cattle ranch, rural area near Boulder.
Wow, a cattle ranch.
Yeah, Lutheran family, Dutch ancestry. Sounds pretty traditional, grounded, heartland America.
A world away from the surreal, absurdist stuff she became known for.
Absolutely. The sources mention her dad was a construction worker, her mom a secretary. She has an older brother, David. Just a regular Colorado upbringing, it seems.
That grounding, though, maybe it gives her observations a different kind of texture. Like, she knows that world, too.
Could be. So she graduates from Skyline High School. That's in '96. Does a year at the University of Colorado in Boulder.
Keeping it local.
For a bit.
Yeah.
But then she transfers and finishes her BA at Northwestern University.
Ah, Northwestern. Okay, that makes more sense. Strong theater program there.
Big time. But finishing school was just like the warm-up act, the real turning point, moving to New York City in 2000.
And not just moving, right? The sources say it was specifically to chase a comedy career.
Totally focused.
Yeah.
And she didn't mess around. By 2005, she gets her first major shout-out. New York Magazine puts her on their list.
Oh, I remember those lists. The 10 funniest New Yorkers you've never heard of. Huge deal back then.
Massive boost.
Yeah.
And that really kicks things off. What happens next is just this rapid-fire series of awards, a total blitz.
Yeah, establishing her cred. Not on TV yet, but in that really tough, experimental alt comedy world.
She's proving herself to the comedy nerds first,
So what awards are we talking?
Okay, so 2006, she wins Best Alternative Comedian at the HBO U.S. Comedy Arts Festival in Aspen. That's a big one.
Huge. HBO backing.
And maybe even more telling, style-wise. She wins the second ever Andy Kaufman Award.
Okay, the Andy Kaufman Award, that's very specific. That's not just about telling jokes.
Exactly. It's for people pushing boundaries, doing weird experimental stuff. Performance art meets comedy.
Winning that connects her directly to that lineage of really challenging kind of theatrical comedy. It says a lot.
It absolutely does. And you see that theatricality later, right? Even in roles like The Guide. That dry, precise weirdness.
Totally. It comes from the stage.
And the local scene loved her, too. She won Best Female Stand-Up at the Nightlife Awards in '06, then again at the ECNY Awards in '07, building that New York buzz.
And then it goes international pretty quick, right?
Yeah, 2008's a big year. She wins the Barry Award at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. Major international prize.
For her show, Kristen Schaal, as you have probably never seen her before, great title.
Isn't it? And she actually tied for that one with Nina Conti.
Oh, wow. Another super unique, high-concept comedian. Ventriloquist, right.
So tying with her, winning in Melbourne, it proves her weirdness translates. Critics everywhere got it.
It wasn't just a New York thing.
Nope. And it wasn't just solo stuff either. She was deep in the collaborative scene, co-hosting that weekly variety show, Hot Tub.
Right, in L.A. Voted Best Variety Show by Time Out New York Readers in '05, so she was doing bi-coastal stuff too.
Seems like it. Always working, always collaborating. She was on an improv team, Big Black Car, at the People's Improv Theater.
Honing those improv chops, which you definitely see later in her character work. That quickness.
Essential skill. And here's a really fun detail. I think it says a lot about her whole vibe. Yeah. She was a founding member of the Striking Viking Story Pirates.
Okay, what is that? Sounds amazing.
It's a theater company, right? And they take stories written by actual kids.
Little kids.
Yeah. And they turn them into sketches and songs, live on stage.
That is so perfectly Kristen Schaal, whimsical, creative, a bit strange working with that childlike imagination, literally.
Totally indicative of her style, right? And she kept hitting the big festivals, too. Edinburgh Fringe in '07. Got nominated there in '08 for a show with Kurt Braunohler.
Double Down Hearts, her regular comedy partner.
And she even performed at the Royal Albert Hall in London for the Secret Policeman's Ball.
Whoa! That's a legendary event for Amnesty International.
Yeah. So, I mean, by the late 2000s, she'd basically conquered the live stage. Alt comedy, international festivals, high-profile benefits, all before she became, like, a household name on TV.
So that quirky voice, that delivery, it wasn't just, a thing. It was the engine for some seriously acclaimed boundary-pushing comedy.
She was recognized as an artist first. And that probably gave her the freedom later to pick and choose those really interesting, unusual projects.
Okay, so she nails the live performance thing, that theatrical, inventive energy. It didn't just stay on stage, did it? It translated perfectly to the sound booth.
Oh, absolutely. Her move into animation wasn't just a side gig. It was like discovering her voice was this, creative superpower.
Yeah, superpower is a good word for it because it let her play characters all over the map, right? Different ages, different species even.
Totally. And what's really interesting is how she uses that quote-unquote childlike quality. It's not just for laughs.
Right. Sometimes it's really vulnerable or surprisingly deep.
Exactly. She can pivot on a dime within one line reading. It's incredible skill.
So let's talk about the big three, the animated trio that, really cemented her voice in pop culture. These are iconic roles.
Okay, got to start with the cornerstone. Louise Belcher, Bob's Burgers. Since 2011, still going strong.
Her longest-running main cast role in animation, right? And just the perfect use of that voice for pure, calculated chaos.
Absolutely. Louise is all scheme all the time, wrapped in that slightly cynical, but still kind of vulnerable package.
And the industry noticed. She won the Annie Award for voice acting in 2015 for Louise, which is huge in animation.
Deservedly so. Think about the technical skill needed to keep that character consistent, that specific blend of mania and hidden heart for over a decade. It's remarkable.
Okay, then role number two. The total opposite end of the spectrum almost. Mabel Pines.
Mabel from Gravity Falls.
Yeah.
Ran from 2012 to 2016. Main cast, 39 episodes.
And Mabel's got the high pitch, the energy, but it's pure uncut optimism, right? Glitter and sweaters and just joy.
Exactly. It shows the range right there. Same basic vocal tool, completely different emotional output.
So how did she keep them sounding distinct? They're both energetic kids.
It's in the nuance, the emotional texture. Louise's voice is often guarded, like a weapon. Mabel's is just wide open, totally transparent, all that boundless enthusiasm, sometimes naivete.
You hear the difference immediately.
Yeah. And she got awards for Mabel, too, a Behind the Voice Actor Award and another Annie, both in 2012, a masterclass in using voice.
Okay, and the third one. This one hits different. Sarah Lynn on BoJack Horseman.
Ah, Sarah Lynn, yeah. Only 14 episodes between 2014 and 2020, but what an impact.
Huge impact. The washed-up child star. That role used her voice, that slightly manic, high energy, to show someone completely broken.
It was devastating, especially her final episodes. The performance was just raw.
So raw, it got her a Primetime Emmy nomination, right? For Outstanding Character Voiceover Performance in 2017.
Yeah, for the episode, that's too much, man. That nomination really underscores her ability to use that comedic voice for profound tragedy. It's incredible range.
Okay, so beyond those big three, the sources show she's just everywhere in animation, like across huge franchises. Trixie the Triceratops in Toy Story.
Trixie, yeah, perfect example. Using that distinct voice for a non-human character, but still totally relatable and funny.
And she wasn't just in one movie, she's the voice of Trixie.
Exactly. Toy Story 3, Toy Story 4, the shorts, the video game. Forky asks a question. She's woven into the fabric of that massive, beloved Pixar universe. That's a huge deal.
And in other movies, too, right? Supporting roles.
Yep. Shannon in Despicable Me 2, Barb in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, too.
Sure.
Even popping up in Shrek Forever After as a couple of witches.
She gets around. And recurring TV roles, too.
Loads them. She was Victoria Best on Word Girl.
Oh, yeah. The super competitive kid genius.
Perfect casting. And Jake Jr. on Adventure Time, Tiffy on Archer, Bella the Bellhop on Amphibia, Molly on Death Hacks. She just keeps popping up in great shows.
I want to go back to the Simpsons guest spot for a second, because there's a story there, right?
Oh, yeah, this is a great little anecdote. Shows how much clout she had, even back in 2011. She guest starred as Taffy in Homer Scissorhands.
Okay. Standard guest spot for a rising star.
Right. But they misspelled her name in the credits. Put Kristen Schaal, S-C-H-A-L-L.
Ouch. Awkward.
Very. But what The Simpsons did next is almost unheard of, the very next week's episode.
Yeah.
Bart's chalkboard gag in the opening credits, it read, "It's Kristen Schaal, not Kristen Schaal."
No way. They gave her a personal chalkboard apology.
Yep, a public correction from The Simpsons, a show that almost never breaks the fourth wall like that for a guest star. It tells you how much respect she commanded in the animation world even then.
That's amazing. What a great story.
It really is. So when you line up all these roles, the kid genius, the tragic pop star, the talking dinosaur.
Louise, Mabel, Sarah Lynn.
It's clear she mastered using that one unique voice like a precision instrument, finding totally different notes and harmonies for every single character.
It's not just a voice, it's like a whole toolkit.
A massively successful, critically acclaimed toolkit.
Yeah. Okay, so she dominates animation. But it's one thing to kill it in the sound booth, right? It's another to bring that alt comedy experimental energy into live action roles. Physical comedy, ensemble work.
And make it stick.
Yeah.
And the role that really blasted her onto the live action scene, showing off that amazing ability to play, well, kind of obsessed characters, was Mel on Flight of the Conchords.
Oh, Mel, yes. Her obsessive fan character, 2007 to 2009. She was in, like, most episodes, right?
21 episodes, yeah. She was the ultimate stalker fan of Brett and Jermaine.
And she channeled that frantic energy, that slightly unsettling vibe from her stand-up perfectly into Mel.
She was the ideal foil to the band's low-key awkwardness, just totally desperate and hilarious.
Got her an EW nomination for supporting actress, too.
It did. And that role really was her big launchpad in live action.
Yes.
Proved she could carry a recurring character on a hit HBO show.
So from there, she takes that comedic voice and applies it to political satire.
Yeah, which makes sense. Her ability to deliver completely absurd ideas with utter conviction is perfect for satire.
The Daily Show.
Exactly. From 2008 to 2016, almost 10 years, off and on. She was an occasional commentator, did 31 episodes.
Often as the senior women's issues correspondent.
That was her main bit.
Yeah.
Using her specific delivery to just, like, inject chaos and weird logic into political discussions, making fun of the way people talk about serious issues.
It really established her as a sharp, satirical voice nationally.
And she brought that same energy later to Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Did a great segment on sex education.
Right. Talking about abstinence only versus comprehensive ed. Again, using humor to tackle a tricky subject.
It's clear she was never just going to be an actor reading lines, though. She's fundamentally a creator, a writer.
Which brings us to her behind-the-scenes work. She was a writer and consultant for South Park, season 11.
Which is, I mean, working at the absolute pinnacle of TV satire. Huge deal.
There's a catch here, right? The sources mentioned something else.
Yeah, this is where it gets interesting. The detail is she was actually fired after just 1 month.
Wow. Fired from South Park?
Yeah. It really speaks volumes, I think, about how intense and maybe cutthroat those high-level writers' rooms can be, especially South Park, which is famously demanding.
It shows the pressure, even for someone super talented like her. High stakes.
Definitely. But she didn't just stay in writers' rooms. She wrote a book, too.
Right. The Sexy Book of Sexy Sex. Co-wrote it with her husband, Rich Blomquist.
Who's also a Daily Show writer. Published in 2010.
And there's another interesting tidbit about the book, about her persona.
Oh, yeah, this is fascinating. She apparently originally wanted them to use pseudonyms for the book.
Really? Why?
Because, and this is a quote, she didn't want anyone to imagine me doing those things described in the book.
That's incredible. She was that aware of how people perceived her, that sort of childlike association.
Seems like it. She knew her public image was so tied to that voice and persona, and she wrestled with how to square that with writing, a sexy sex book, even a humorous one.
Shows she thinks carefully about that line between her art and her public image. Ended up using her real name, though.
She did. Okay, so shifting back to major TV roles, anchoring big shows, The Last Man on Earth.
Carol Pilbasian, 2015 to 2018, 65 episodes. What a great character.
She was fantastic in that.
Yeah.
The emotional and, structural counterweight to Will Forte's character, right?
Totally. In that post-apocalyptic chaos, Carol was desperately clinging to rules and community. Using that scroll enthusiasm, but for, trying to maintain civilization.
Yeah, she really carried a lot of the show's heart in her own weird way. Showed she could handle that kind of moral center role.
And, big step here, she also directed an episode of Last Man on Earth.
Yes. Gender friender. That's a really important detail. Moving behind the camera.
Taking all that experience, writing, consulting, acting, and channeling it into directing, that signals real ambition to control the whole creative process. Often gets overlooked.
Definitely. And then the role that's made her a total icon for cult comedy fans right now, The Guide.
The Guide. What We Do in the Shadows started recurring, right? Seasons 3 and 4.
Yep. Just stole every scene she was in. That perfect deadpan delivery, managing the Vampiric Council's bureaucracy.
With occasional flashes of insecurity. It's brilliant.
So brilliant, they promoted her to the main cast for season 5. Sometimes a character just pops like that because the performance is undeniable.
And she could also do family-friendly prestige stuff, too. The Mysterious Benedict Society on Disney+.
Right, playing number 2 from 2021 to 2022. Just shows her range across demographics. She can do edgy cable, network sitcoms, and Disney+.
She's just been everywhere. We didn't even really dig into Hazel Wassername on 30 Rock.
11 episodes. Or her guest spot on Mad Men as Nanette.
How I Met Your Mother, Modern Family. The list goes on.
It really does. The resume is just proof. She's one of the most versatile, most bankable comedic actors working today, period.
Okay, so to really wrap our heads around all this, we kind of need to connect the work back to the person, right? Especially when the sources give us these quite personal details. It adds a whole other layer.
Absolutely. It provides that crucial human context behind the comedic force. We know she's married to Rich Blomquist, the comedy writer, since 2012.
And they have a daughter, Ruby, born in February 2018.
Right. But the sources add this important detail. Ruby's birth came after years of trying and some experimental fertility treatments.
Sharing that, it offers this really rare personal glimpse. Shows the same kind of perseverance and dedication in her private life that you see in her career.
And they live in Los Feliz now.
So that context about starting her family is powerful, but there's an even more intense, really harrowing personal story in the sources, something that happened while she was working.
Yeah, this one. It definitely makes you pause. It really highlights the difference between the cheerful voice we hear and the struggles that could be happening behind the scenes.
This was revealed in 2017. She suffered an ectopic pregnancy.
And it wasn't just that. Her fallopian tube ruptured during a recording session, an unspecified one, for Gravity Falls.
Oh my God. While recording Mabel Pines.
The sources indicate it happened during a Gravity Falls session. It was incredibly serious, a life-threatening medical emergency.
Had to be rushed to the hospital.
Emergency surgery. The source mentions she lost at least 2 liters of blood.
Wow. Just absorbing that. Dealing with something that terrifying, that physically dangerous, while literally channeling the voice of pure, innocent joy like Mabel Pines.
It completely reframes your perception of her commitment, doesn't it? The resilience required. It's that hidden struggle beneath the performance.
Yeah. Deep respect. Okay, so beyond those really heavy personal moments, the sources are also full of these amazing deep cuts. Little things that show just how completely woven into the culture she is.
Yeah, these are the fun nuggets that show her total saturation, like video games. She voiced a character, Serna, in the big EA game anthem back in 2019.
Different medium again. Requires that technical precision.
And showing the artistic respect her voice commands. She voiced Delirium in the audio drama version of Neil Gaiman's The Sandman.
Delirium. Okay, that's perfect casting for her voice. In The Sandman, Act 2, stepping into that huge, respected mythology.
Totally. Shows her voice is seen as an asset, even without visuals.
And music videos. She pops up in some cool ones.
Yeah, pure alt-comedy cred. She was in the video for Conversation 16 by The National back in 2010.
Oh, I remember that one. And, of course, the big one. Weird Al Yankovic's Tacky video.
Yes, the parody of Ferrell's Happy from 2014. Being in that lineup with all those other huge comedians,
yeah,
it just confirms her status in that top tier of American comedy.
Definitely part of the zeitgeist. And commercials, too, right? She's been the face or voice of some big brands. Oh, yeah. Highly visible. T-Mobile, Wendy's, Radio Shack, Starburst, Sony Xperia, Zaxby's. Her specific persona, that voice, clearly resonates with a mass audience. It's commercially viable.
Proves her unique thing has broad appeal.
And just to round it all out, remember, she started in live action. Small parts way back, like Miss Tree and Kate and Leopold in 2001. Or Mary Ellen in A Walk in the Woods much later, 2015.
She's truly done, well, kind of everything. A real multimedia force.
Yeah.
Hashtag tag outro.
So when you put it all together, the Colorado Ranch Kid,
yeah,
the Andy Kaufman Award winner, the voice of Louise Belcher and Sarah Lynn, what's the big picture?
Yeah, what's the main takeaway from this deep dive? I think it's that Kristen Schaal isn't just defined by that incredibly distinct voice, even though the voice is like a massive part of it.
Force multiplier, yeah.
Right. She's defined by just how ubiquitous she is, strategically everywhere, across every single corner of modern comedy and media.
It's really rare, isn't it, to take such a singular, really specific identity, that alt-comedy weirdness,
and leverage it into massive mainstream success, both critical and commercial, without really watering it down. She stayed true to those experimental roots.
She connected the dots between the edgy, boundary-pushing stuff that won her that Andy Kaufman Award and the kind of work that gets Emmy nominations and Annie Awards, you know, high-level mainstream stuff.
It's the ultimate tightrope walk, maybe, delivering that chaos, that invention she's known for.
But with the professional polish and consistency needed for these huge franchises.
Yeah, controlled chaos, perfectly calculated.
So, thinking ahead, where does she go next? She's been a writer, a consultant on shows like South Park. She wrote the book, she directed.
Exactly. That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Given all that experience behind the scenes, where does that really unique, inventive perspective take her when she leans more into directing or producing?
She's conquered acting, voice acting, live comedy, across pretty much every medium you can think of. So the next step feels like synthesizing all that, right?
Shaping the whole thing from the creator's chair.
Yeah. Taking everything she's learned and applying it from that side, that feels like the next logical and honestly really exciting frontier for her.
It really does. Fascinating career to keep watching, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the wonderfully complex, chaotic, and just brilliant career of Kristen Schaal.